Hey, I'm Hunt, and this is Hunt on LSU, your channel for LSU Fighting Tiger football talk. Enjoy the video. We want you to leave a comment below, hit that like button, and subscribe right below the video. Enjoy. A lot of you that are listening, most of you that are listening, have never been to an LSU football practice. And I think the thought of that, to most of you who are diehard fans and live and die with every Saturday in the fall, think of that would be such an incredible experience. And for some, it very well may be. I've been to enough of them now where it's not necessarily something that, really gets my heart rate going. I've been pretty open about that. I'm there to get a little bit of information. If I can get a nugget here or there, it's fine, but it's certainly, there are other things that are a little more captivating to me than watching football practice. Specifically, I'm talking about the first 15 minutes that we would get to watch under Les Miles, where literally the DBs backpedaled, the D linemen hit the sleds, the quarterbacks threw slant routes to the receivers, the offensive line did walkthroughs, and the kickers kicked over on the other field. It just, after you've seen that 185 times, there's just not that much to it. But I will tell you this, in my early years going out to LSU football practice, one position group was far more fun to watch than any other because of the energy that they brought and the swagger and edge they brought and just how captivating they were as a group. And I tell Brandon Taylor this on the pre- and post-game show for the network all the time about this because he was right in the middle of it. I started going to football practice in 2010. And for 3 years, 2010, 2011, 2012, I watched Patrick Peterson, Morris Claiborne, Tyrann Mathieu, Thorold Simon, Eric Reed, Brandon Taylor, just at Ron Brooks, absolute dudes come through there. And they were really good. They knew they were really good. And they acted like they were really good. And that was Ron Cooper's time. And as time moved on, you saw Jalen Mills and you saw Tre'Davious White and you saw Christian Fulton and Derek Stingley and Grant Delpit. And these were the guys that, and no matter who it was individually that year, it was the same edge. It was the same swagger. It was the same confidence. And that's DBU. That was one of the cool things about going to practice, was watching those guys work. And you understand now, as we sit here 3 days from fall camp, that LSU has dropped a couple pegs. A lot of pegs, quite frankly, if we're talking about last year, from that level of play, from that level of player. That list I just rattled off there were Thorpe Award winners and first-round draft picks and Pro Bowlers and All-Americans, and that's what you got when you went out there. And last year, I ran across this statistic. I literally did the research and looked it up. LSU allowed half of the SEC quarterbacks it faced last year to set a season high in passing yards. Half. Now, I've given you that for a little bit of effect because one of those guys doesn't really count. I don't know that I'm going to give Jalen Henderson, who only started 2 games, full credit for that, but he did throw for more yards against LSU than he did against a rent-a-win opponent at home. But if you're looking at it, Jackson Dart set a season high for passing yards against LSU in that shootout. KJ Jefferson set a season high in passing yards against LSU for Arkansas. Brady Cook set a season high in passing yards for Missouri in a shootout. And Jalen Henderson set a season high in passing yards against LSU as the third-team quarterback for Texas A&M. Now you'll look at that and you'll say, yeah, but LSU went 3-1 in those games. No big deal. And that's fine, but the fact of the matter is, as you well know, that you can't count on the Heisman winner and 2 first-rounders to bail you out every single time. And I was not shocked, not even surprised, a little bit disappointed to learn that 4 SEC quarterbacks out of 8 games set season high in passing yards against LSU. And the question is, how quickly can you fix that? You understand that Deuce Chestnut is gone. He's back at Syracuse playing safety. You know that Denver Harris is gone. He's at UTSA. LaTerrence Welsh transferred out. He's at Arizona State. Jeremiah Hughes was here for a year. He's gone to Michigan State. You welcome back Zy Alexander, hopefully at full strength after a leg injury. You bring back Ashton Stamps. You bring back J.K. Johnson. We'll see what happens with Javian Toviano. Not with the team right now. You bring in Zaire Brown, P.J. Woodland, Michael Turner, Bernard Causey, Wallace Foster. And you hope that there's a bit of an uptick in performance. I do take a little bit of solace. You know that Brian Kelly does not love to rely heavily on the transfer portal year over year. That's not what he wants to do. He wants to bring in high school players. And if you take out Zaire Brown, everyone in this cornerback room is either a high school prospect or in at least their second year at LSU. Zy Alexander's in his second year. J.K. Johnson's in his second year. Ashton Stamps was a high school enrollee. P.J. Woodland, high school. Michael Turner, high school. Bernard Causey, high school. Wallace Foster, high school. Like, this is what he wants the position group to look like. You bring in high school guys. You develop them. You bring in multi-year players. He doesn't want to live and die by Joe Fouché and Bernard Converse and Mekhi Garner. Show up in January, here for 15 months, gone. That's not the way he wants to do things. So you're going to theoretically get 2 years from Zy Alexander, 4 years from Ashton Stamps, 3 years from J.K. Johnson, 4 years from Javian Toviano, theoretically, 4 years from P.J. Woodland, Michael Turner, Bernard Causey, Wallace Foster. Now, I realize that's pie in the sky and that multiple guys I just listed are going to transfer. That's just the reality of the situation. But you can't have folks stay for a long time if they don't show up early. And these guys are showing up early. The question is, as I've said now 3 times, like, can they give you something close to the level that you've expected from LSU over the years? I have my questions. Now, I could paint you a picture where Zy Alexander returns and uses his length and experience playing at a higher level than he had in his college career and becomes a really good player. That Ashton Stamps takes a big jump from year 1 to year 2. We remember last year, this time, early August, like, Ashton Stamps kind of arrived on the scene. P.J. Woodland did that in the spring. Is he ready to go? Can J.K. Johnson and Zaire Brown overcome the injury issues that have plagued them for 3 years and be the 4-star top 100 recruits they were billed to be? It's possible. I just don't know that I'm ready to commit fully to buying into that. I think LSU is going to have their issues in the secondary. And I say that because we know what great looks like. I just gave you the example of what I watched for like 9 years at those practices. Like, that's what great looks like. I don't see a Thorpe Award winner here on this year's team this year. I don't see a first-round pick this year. I don't see a Pro Bowler. That's hard to forecast. You want to tell me P.J. Woodland at 165 pounds one day is going to be a Pro Bowler? Okay, I'll let you spin that tale. But right now, as I look at it, it looks like some guys who are coming off injury, some really young players without a lot of skins on the wall. And it looks like a group that's going to have its struggles. And when you look like a group like that, and your first game is against a coach, the only one in college football that's coached 3 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks in the last decade, it gives you an uneasy feeling. But I do trust Corey Raymond to continue to work with those guys, to get more out of them than we saw last year, where I think they were outmanned and undercoached. They may be a little bit outmanned this year. Maybe not, but they may be. I think they'll be well coached. That's at least my hope. Let's try not to allow half the SEC slate to set a season high in passing yards against this group. That's a goal to start with. That's a baseline to start with. Maybe only allow that to happen twice. Love it to happen none. We'll see. If you're looking for LSU content, you can find it on our YouTube channel, Hunt on LSU. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.